Today in Portland, a new book is pulling back the curtain on how the Ku Klux Klan once held real sway in Oregon life and politics. I'm Leah.
And I'm Garrett.
This is Laid Back Local, the news of the day with Leah and Garrett in Portland.
All right, let's set the stage for this one. First up, a book called Peddlers of Hate by Oregon journalist Steve Law digs into the Klan's rise and fall in our state. Law is a retired reporter who worked at the Portland Tribune and the Statesman Journal. The book lays out how the Klan leveraged fear and false moral authority in the 1920s to steer local politics, especially with a heavy anti-Catholic push. A quick timeline to ground us. In the mid to late 1800s, Oregon passed black exclusion laws that tried to keep black residents from settling here. In 1915, D.W. Griffith's film Birth of a Nation glorified the Klan, and recruitment surged nationwide. From 1915 to 1944, Oregon had the second highest Klan membership per capita in the country, meaning relative to the state's population. In 1921, Portland Mayor George Baker formed a vigilante group that included Klan members. In 1922, the Klan backed a statewide ban on private schools, mostly targeting Catholic schools. The U.S. Supreme Court struck that down in 1925 as unconstitutional. The book also points out the media's role back then in normalizing the Klan's activity and how civil rights leaders' organized and relentless efforts helped bring about the downfall. Two details that stood out to me. One, the Klan actually operated like a for-profit corporation with memberships sold on commission. And two, the book draws careful parallels to modern tactics, showing how fear and scapegoating can be recycled, even if the players and slogans change.
1 in 15 Oregonians being Klan members at the peak is just like stomach-dropping. That's so wild. A quick note on those black exclusion laws you mentioned, Garrett. Those were state laws that tried to keep black people from living here through threats and penalties. Understanding that context matters, because it explains how bigotry got baked into institutions. If we don't name it clearly, we can't unlearn it, and we risk repeating pieces of it even unintentionally. Why do you think so many people got pulled into it back then?
Honestly, fear plus marketing. That film glamorized the Klan. Local leaders gave them cover, and the for-profit structure turned recruitment into a sales job. Mix in social pressure and disinformation, and you get momentum. The hopeful part is that sustained pushback from civil rights leaders and court rulings chipped away at the facade until it collapsed.
Okay, let's move on. Next up, Urban Alchemy. That's Portland's largest homeless services provider, the nonprofit running some of the city's sites for people who used to live outside. From 2023 onward, public records show over 150 complaints related to its operations. We're talking drug use on site, safety issues, even sexual harassment reports. At the same time, emails show city staff coordinating with Urban Alchemy's PR firm, Riff City Strategies. A PR firm is a public relations company hired to shape messaging and public image. The concern is that, while complaints piled up, energy went into polishing the image instead of fully addressing the issues. Urban Alchemy holds a 5-year contract with the city through 2028, and a surprising detail here is that the group gets about 99% of its revenue from government grants. Transparency, meaning clear and open accounting of what's happening on these sites, feels essential when that much public money is involved. But why would the city lean into PR in the middle of so many red flags?
I get wanting to calm the waters during a tough rollout, but yeah, image can't outrun reality. If 99% of the funding is public, then tight oversight and clear complaint tracking should follow. Urban Alchemy's model employs a lot of formerly incarcerated folks, which can be a path to stability. But critics say it can also recreate prison-style dynamics if training and supervision aren't rock solid. So for me, step 1 is sunlight. Publish site conditions, timelines for fixes, and outcomes. That builds trust faster than any press release.
Moving right along. Christine Drazan is running for Oregon governor, and her campaign has pivoted to embrace the state's vote-by-mail system, even though she previously opposed it. In 2025, she sponsored House Bill 3872 to switch Oregon to in-person voting. That bill failed. Now her campaign is using volunteer couriers to collect and return ballots, a practice often called ballot harvesting. That term refers to trained volunteers picking up sealed ballots from voters who ask for help and dropping them off at official sites, within rules designed to protect against tampering and late deliveries.
Right? And in Oregon, that assistance is legal when it follows the guardrails, like consent from the voter and on-time delivery. Strategically, her team is leaning into this to boost turnout in rural areas and beyond the usual party base. It's a recognition that in our state, mail-in is how most people participate, so meeting voters where they are, not where you wish they were, is the practical move.
Real talk, I'm a bit skeptical given the past push to end mail-in. Why the change now? Still, from a strictly tactical angle, adapting to the system we have makes sense. The insightful piece here is that she's aiming beyond the traditional GOP base, trying to widen the funnel. If everyone plays by the rules, voters get to weigh the consistency question themselves. Switching gears just a little. Demolition is underway at Centennial Mills in the Pearl District after the August 2nd fire made the site unstable. Controlled explosions on August 17 brought down the water tower to start the process. Controlled explosions are carefully planned charges to bring specific structures down in a safe, predictable way. The site sits near active train routes, so stability and timing matter a lot here. A heads up on the environmental side, there'd been extensive asbestos abatement over the years, abatement meaning the removal or safe containment of a hazardous material. Not all asbestos was removed before the fire, so demolition teams have to manage dust control and disposal carefully. The bigger picture is a redevelopment plan for that waterfront land once the dangerous structures are gone.
Yeah, safety first. If asbestos fibers get airborne, that's a long-term health risk. So sealed transport, water spray for dust, protective gear for crews, and post-demo air testing should be table stakes. Once it's safe, I'm down for the community helping shape what goes there next. That's a prime spot. Let's nail the balance between public access and smart development. Last up, food news that, honestly, made my day. Cocina de Mary on Alberta Street is serving up hard-to-find Guatemalan dishes in a full sit-down setting. It opened in February 2026, and in the evenings, it takes over the space from RJ Skillets, which serves brunch during the day. One of the owners, Maria Ramos Guarcas, moved here from Guatemala at 19 and now imports staples like specific chilies and spices to keep things authentic. Signature dish alert, pepián de pollo. It's often called Guatemala's national dish, a rich chicken stew built on toasted chilies and seeds, kind of smoky and complex, but comforting. The restaurant is becoming a cultural hub for Guatemalans in Portland, while also opening a door for the rest of us to try something new. I could get behind that idea any night of the week.
That one gave me chills, in the best way. Pepián de pollo was one of the first dishes Guarcas learned to cook, which adds this beautiful personal thread. Food like that isn't just dinner, it's a bridge. And as more Guatemalan spots pop up, the city's flavor map gets richer, for real. So there we have it, Portland, from tough history and accountability to a little culinary joy.
Thanks for tuning in to Laid Back Local, the news of the day, with Leah and Garrett. We'll catch you tomorrow.